We had a big day yesterday. There'll always be transition difficulty, but we had a tariff that took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China and others, taxes in China. But we took in hundreds of billions of dollars a year from China, and we had no inflation, essentially. So we think we're in very good shape. We think we're doing very well. Again, there'll be a transition cost and transition problems, but in the end, it's going to be a beautiful thing. Pete just got back from Panama, and he's been all over the place. And you want to give us a little report on that and whatever else you might have to say. But we have nothing to hide.
Mr. President, we just got back from Panama last night. We were at the Panama Canal with our Southcom commander ships, F-18s, troops, and signed a couple of historic deals. One which is with the Panama Canal Authority, a framework for U.S. vessels, first and free through the Panama Canal,
right,
based there, as well as a naval station and air station jointly with Panama to secure the Panama Canal from Chinese influence. That's something you said, we're taking back the canal. China's had too much influence. Obama and others let them creep in. We, along with Panama, are pushing them out, sir. And so we had a very successful trip there. President Molino sends his regards, and I think they want the Communist Chinese out. And with our troops there partnering with their forces, we've got a chance to push them all the way out, sir.
We've moved a lot of troops to Panama and filled up some areas that we used to have, and we didn't have any longer, but we have them now. And I think it's in very good control, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know, I don't believe there's any other president that allowed the press to come into a meeting such as this. These are very sacred meetings. These are very private meetings.
Mr. President, can you give us a reaction to today's stock market drop, and also give us a sense of the next steps with China?
Well, I haven't seen it because I've been here for 2.5 hours, so I'll be seeing it. I think Scott went out. Scott, you want to have a statement on that?
We will end up in a place of great certainty over the next 90 days on tariffs. We had very good inflation numbers today. Oil's down. We had a successful bond market, so I don't see anything unusual today.
And next steps for China, sir?
Well, we'll see what happens with China. We would love to be able to work a deal. They've really taken advantage of our country for a long period of time. They've ripped us off beyond nobody. How people stood for it, sitting in my position, is not even believable. And we're talking about many presidents, not just a couple. But they did, and all we're doing is putting it back in shape. We're resetting the table. And I'm sure that we'll be able to get along very well. I have great respect for President Xi. He's been, in a true sense, he's been a friend of mine for a long period of time. And I think that we'll end up working out something that's very good for both countries. I look forward to it.
Mr. President, China retaliated today by reducing the number of American films that can be shown there. What's your reaction to them now targeting cultural exports from the United States?
I think I've heard of worse things. Yes, please.
Also on China, the Ukrainians say they have evidence that Chinese soldiers have been found fighting for the Russians in Ukraine. Can the U.S. verify this? And if so, what does the U.S. plan on doing to China to counteract that?
We'll look into it, but I think beyond that, we're really looking to get that war stopped.
Mr. President, if you aren't able to reach the deals that you want to see at the end of the 90 days, will you put those higher tariffs in place, or will you extend
Well, that's what
pause?
would happen. I mean, if we can't make the deal that we want to make, or we have to make, or that's good for both parties, it's got to be good for both parties. And then we'd go back to where we were.
You'd go back to the numbers that you announced last week.
I think so.
You wouldn't extend the pause?
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens at that time.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said yesterday you were considering some exceptions for companies. Can you talk about what you're considering? And then also on the reciprocal tariffs, that they'd be substantially lower. Is the same math formula going to be used, or is that tossed out?
I'm not considering now for any country or company, but it's possible that I would. But I'm not. We don't have that situation right now. People understand where we are, what we're going to do. But it could happen. It's called flexibility. You have to have certain flexibility.
On the 10% tariff, is that a basement? Is that the
It's a
floor?
baseline.
Can countries negotiate that to bring that
It depends
down?
on what they're adding. You know, some countries we have massive deficits with, or they have big surpluses with us, and others it's not that way. So it depends. That's why it's really they're all different. Every country is different. Some have certain advantages that others don't have, and certain things. We have some. China has a surplus of $1 trillion. I mean, the numbers are crazy, and others have basically no surpluses. You know, we have some that are pretty even, but they hurt us in other ways, and we just want to get that taken care of. So everyone is a little bit different.
So are you negotiating with the EU as one bloc or individual nations for the tariffs?
We're looking at it as one bloc. They've been very tough, but they were very smart. They were ready to announce retaliation, and then they heard about what we did with respect to China and others, but China, and they said, you know, we're going to hold back a little bit. They decided to hold back. I thought they were very smart. Look, the EU is very smart, but they really have taken advantage of the United States. They were formed for the purpose of taking advantage of the United States. And I don't blame them, and I don't blame China. I don't blame anybody. I blame the people that were sitting at that desk in that other beautiful Oval Office for allowing it to happen. Many presidents I blame. They should have never allowed it to happen. And I would actually read them. I don't have to read them now. I know them so well. I would read some of these documents that were signed, deals, and I said, who would do a deal like this? Who would do it? You've seen it, Elon.
Yeah.
I'd look at deals where it's so one-sided. Even we have a deal with Japan, and we get along great with Japan, and we had the Prime Minister here. He was fantastic. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
You were speaking about Japan. Can you clarify what your vision is for U.S. Steel? You referenced it yesterday.
Yeah.
There's some questions about what you actually want
Sure.
to see out of
Look,
that.
U.S. Steel is going to do very well now because of tariffs, and I don't know why they even need a deal. But the only thing is U.S. Steel, if you go back 80 or 90 years, that was a behemoth in this. That was our biggest, most, if we were around, we would have been very proud of it. Today we have different types of companies that are big. Today you see just empty hulks. Those hulks are going to be filled up very soon because of what I'm doing with tariffs. It was a different kind of a thing. But if I didn't do that in the first term, my first term, if I didn't put tariffs on, we would have, because China and others were dumping steel, billions of dollars of steel. Our steel companies were all closing. Every fact, we wouldn't have one steel plant open. And now we have a steel industry that's doing very well, but soon it's going to be thriving, really thriving. And those factories are going to be filled up, but more importantly, they're going to build brand new ones. I'm not looking to hurt them, but we have 3 car plants that were under construction in Mexico. They stopped constructing, and now they're going to build in the United States because of tariffs. See, we should have never let this happen because whoever it was that was president at the time, we lost 90,000 plants and factories since NAFTA. 90,000. It's not believable. It's 90,000 factories that we've lost since NAFTA. And it's not even, and about 6 million jobs, but really, I think probably a lot more than that, but they say 6 million jobs. We're going to bring many of that back. I think we're going to bring more than all of it back. We're going to be better and stronger than ever before. But if a president, when they were leaving, said, look, you can leave, but if you're going to build a factory someplace else, and you think you're going to come and sell your steel or your car or any product that you make, your pharmaceuticals, which we're going to do, we're going to get them all back. But if you think you're going to just, all they had to do is say this, and they wouldn't have left. And people were thinking about building in Mexico a car plant, and I said, we're going to have a big tariff. So if you want to build a car, you're going to have to pay 25% more than the cost of that car. You're going to have to pay 25% tariff at the border. They would have never left. They could have kept everybody. If a president said, if you leave this country, you leave Michigan, you leave Detroit, you leave anybody, any of our states, because to me they're all the same. I love them all. Okay, I love them all, and I probably won them all, but they say I won most of them, but I think I won them all, but that's okay. But all you had to say if you were the president is, if you leave and you think you're going to now fire all those workers, leave all that, everything behind, and you're going to build in another country and sell it in here, no, you're not going to. You're going to pay 50% or 100% tariff. They would have never left.